The winter session of Parliament has been a complete washout. Disruptions and no debates were the highlights of this session. With me, the Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha, Professor P.J. Kurien. Professor Kurien, thanks so much for speaking to CNN News 18, sir. This has been the most unproductive session in the last 6 years. The valedictory remarks of the President perhaps showcase the angst of the chair. Do you think this was because no efforts were made by the Treasury benches to ensure that the House functions?
Well, I cannot blame either side. I would say it was a responsibility of both sides, the Treasury benches as well as the opposition, to ensure that the House runs smoothly. I would say both sides failed in performing and in doing their duty.
So you're saying that both sides have failed, but don't you think the onus is always on the government of the day to ensure that the House functions? And what we saw perhaps in the last few days, the Treasury benches were also participating in derailing the House.
Yes, I agree. The government has a primary responsibility to create a conducive atmosphere for the running of the Parliament smoothly. At the same time, equally it is for the opposition. They have a responsibility to ensure that the decorum and discipline is maintained in the House. And when the opposition is shouting slogan and coming to the well and shouting slogan, what anybody can do. See, so when the opposition is also
Why is it so acrimonious now, sir? Why is there so much of acrimony between the opposition parties and Treasury benches?
No, this is actually what I also fail to understand. These are issues which can be talked between, I would say outside the Parliament, between the leadership of government and also the opposition leaders. They should sit together, discuss, there should be dialogue and give and take, and finally they can arrive at a consensus decision. It had been the experience in the past. You see, I had been in the Parliament from 1980 onwards. I was 20 years in Lok Sabha. There were very, very emotional issues in the past also. Acrimonious scenes have been there in the Parliament. But then the government and the opposition leaders will sit together and talk out and find out a solution. Unfortunately, that did not happen this time.
Sir,
Unfortunately, it did not happen.
So you were saying that you have been in Parliament for several decades now. Do you think there is complete breakdown of communication between the government and the opposition?
No, I said I do not know actually what happened. Whether there was communication outside the Parliament or no, I do not know what happened. But unless you see something like that happened, how can it be like this? That if there must not have been communication, that I believe, or maybe in spite of communication, both sides stuck to their extreme position. The government and also opposition sticking to their extreme position instead of coming to a compromise. No, see, democracy, how democracy works. If parties or individuals take extreme position, then we cannot function. We cannot function. Democracy is always a give and take. For this give and take, both sides should be ready. I didn't see that. That is what happened.
Professor Kurien, you made efforts in running the House. Would you agree that the opposition was constantly shifting the goalpost? That is the sense that one got while you were addressing from the chair.
No, the point is, I am not saying they are shifting the goalpost, but their demand, see, I would say, their demand was political in the sense that to discuss a motion, they wanted, they would say, some condition. See, they inserted certain condition for starting or continuing a discussion. So, but conditional discussion cannot be done in the House. A motion cannot be conditional in the House. So, connected with that motion, they made a political demand. They have a right to make the political demand. I have no doubt about it. But as far as the chair is concerned, for the chair, for a discussion when it takes place, if it is a discussion of a particular ministry, chair will only see whether the concerned minister will be available for there. And I saw from my side, whenever I was chair, the discussion on the, say for example, discussion on the finance ministry matter or say demonetization, concerned ministry is our finance minister is there. Therefore, chair cannot help it. Chair cannot say or chair cannot agree with the opposition demand and say that this condition should be accepted. Chair cannot accept that. That is the point.
Yes, sir. Would you think that the opposition demand of the Prime Minister's presence throughout the discussion was almost illogical?
No, the point is that is a political demand. I don't want to enter into the to say whether a political demand is right or wrong. That's not my job. But I would say that was a political demand. As far as the chair is concerned, all conditions for a discussion is satisfied. That the motion is there, it is already started. It's already started. The concerned minister or the ministry is there. So as far as the chair is concerned, the discussion can continue. There is nothing wrong. But opposition made a political demand for which it is for the government to respond either in favor of that demand or against. It is up to the government. I don't want to blame either side on that.
Professor Kurien, you said that you have been a member of parliament since 1980. There have been several such situations where it almost looks like a complete breakdown of communication between the two sides. Do you think what played out in this winter session is almost unprecedented?
I think, you see, what happened is an aberration this time, but unfortunately it was, aberration is only for one day or 2 days, but it happened every day. Yes, there were similar situations of total washout to the House of one whole session. In the past also, there were such instances, I remember. But I feel this time it could have been avoided if there was a sincere effort from both sides.
Okay. Last question to you, sir. Do you fear that perhaps this could also spill over in the budget session?
No, I cannot predict anything. I hope the concerned parties will sit together and arrive at a consensus and decision so that the budget session will be smooth. See, I would like to add that, you see, if the Parliament is for debate, discussion and decisions, or approval or disapproval, whatever it is. If that doesn't happen in the Parliament, people will lose faith in the parliamentary democracy. So therefore it's very dangerous. So therefore I hope for the sake of parliamentary democracy and the better future of our country, the leaders, political leaders and the leaders of the government will sit together and ensure that at least the next session will be smooth. That is my appeal also, that they should sit together and iron out their minor differences, technical differences and these differences. They can agree politically. See, in a democracy, disagreement is quite often quite natural. They can politically disagree. But now I saw only one agreement here, that in disruption in the last few days, both of them agreed. Both the government and opposition came together. Do
you think it's unfortunate for treasury benches also to be involved in disruption?
For everybody it is unfortunate, I am telling you, for treasury benches and for government. Disruption is unfortunate. Parliament is not meant for disruption. Parliament is meant for discussion and debate. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking to us.